extraordinary music.
What's going on, Masterclass family? This is your boy, Mr. Adams, bringing you the Black Friday trade of the day. Today we had about 5 stocks that were 5-to-1 setups, if not more. And yesterday, I believe we had about 9 to 10 that were 5-to-1 setups. The reason I'm bringing that up is because every day this week we've had a stock that was a 5-to-1 setup. And once again, the ideal situation will be able to take $100 to $1 million, which within 6 days hitting a 5-to-1 setup every day. Now, that doesn't have to be everyone's goal. All I'm saying is that that's a possibility. It's possible. But granted, it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, focus, and attention. Today, I'm going to do the Black Friday trade of the day on Amgn, AMGN. Why? Because it had one of our ideal setups, just to consistently show that it's really pretty much the same thing over and over for these 5-to-1 setups, on especially on a 5-minute chart. So taking a look at Amgen, if we look at yesterday's activity, we can see around noon that the stock began to consolidate. Even looking at the money flows, it wasn't really a lot going on there, no activity. And because of that consolidation, we had a gold beginning to develop with the moving averages collapsing together. Not much pre-market activity, but the stock maintained its gold status. However, the difference here is that you can see in the pre-market, both the Chalkin and the money flow oscillator are they're lit. It's a lot of activity here. They both are extremely positive. And what really caught my attention about this trade is that this stock consolidated underneath the married pivot point and previous day's high level right here. That's a marriage for what appears to be a good 50 minutes before it finally broke out. And when it broke out, it didn't look back. And this break above the married levels with rising moving averages gave you a 5-to-1 trade on Amgen for the Black Friday trade of the day. If we were to take a look at it on the multiple time frame or multi-time frame analysis, on the 30-minute chart, we have our silver setup here with the stock opening up above the Ichimoku cloud. That's a good sign. Then on the 1-hour chart, the stock is also already above the cloud. And when the market opened, you had a candlestick on a 1-hour chart that was closed above both the 10 and the 20, which is a positive sign. On the weekly chart, you have a stock that recently held the 10-day moving average and the 20 as support, showing that it has support and that it's headed back up in a positive territory. And then on the daily chart, you have somewhat of a small flag right here. You have this flagpole, then you have a pullback for 2 days, and then the stock continued its grind higher. For a swing trade, you could have took this trade on January the 2nd, when this candlestick closed above the 100, 50, 20, and 10-day all at the same time. And had you took that trade, you could have rolled the stock from 176 all the way to 185, which probably got you a 10-to-1 or maybe even a 20-to-1, depending on the options contracts that you purchase. Taking a quick look at the options chain, the 182.50 call options went from 50 cents all the way to $2.87. The 185 call options went from 11 cents to 62 cents. Both of those strike prices gave you a 5-to-1 on Amgen. So Amgen was our Black Friday trade of the day. I do want to take a quick look at Google because yesterday in both chat rooms I put out Google because Google was forming flags on various time frames. So I do want to show you guys those flags on Google really quick, because Google was also a 5 trade, though the 5 minute wasn't necessarily ideal pre-market. But if we take a look at the 30 minute, here we have a silver setup with Google here as well. Let me zoom out. There we go. As you can see, this is your flag pole. That's your flag. Google broke out right there. Zoom in a little bit so we can see it. There's your Google break on the 30 minute. If I zoom out on a 1 hour, that's your flag pole. Stock is above the cloud. Google broke out. On the daily chart, let me zoom in. You can see both the money flow oscillator and the chalky money flow are positive for Google. That's your flag pole. That's your flag. Google broke out. And Google is above the 10-day on the weekly chart. If we take a quick look at Google on the 5 minute chart, we'll see that the setup is engaged. Here's your pivot point. Here's your previous day's high-low. We technically like for those to be married, but engaged is, I mean, it's fine. You just have to use discretion. You have somewhat of a shenanigans taking place with all the moving averages pre-market. They're all over the place, so that was somewhat of a turnoff for me. However, you can see that it does have a lot of money flow, so it was worth consideration, but as far as the pre-market activity, it wasn't necessarily ideal. First 5 minute candlestick was huge. It was probably a $7 candlestick. Then Google immediately hit the pivot point, tested not only the previous day's high, but it tested the 10-day moving average, the 20, and the VWAP. So there's about 3 to 4 different levels of support that it held before it continued its rise higher, thus giving you a 5-to-1 trade. Matter of fact, probably even more. On the 130 contracts, Google went from 15 cents to $2. So that's probably more so like a 8 or 9 to 1 on Google. Once again, and we put it out yesterday in the chat room. So the trades of the day was Amgn and Google, and you had a few others that did well as well. Masterclass. Dominate.